Hi, I'm Anna Olsen here on Insights into Consciousness on A1R Radio, the world's biggest psychic network and the best psychic network. And I just wanted to do a show today to teach other people how to read cards. I want to let you know what we do when we're looking at a card or why we use cards. And some people can be scared of cards, which is understandable. You know, I know that there's been a lot of gossip about cards and tarot and all of that. And I'm here to just clear up some of those myths and let you know that it's a lot more than just using a tool for divination and getting some message from some source you don't know about. This is more about tuning into what type of I guess it could be spirit, it could be the spirit, like some people call it the Holy Spirit, some people call it, all sorts of things. So it just really depends upon the person and what frequency they're on. So we're like an antenna, okay? And so that's really what I'd like to go into today about basics with card readings and where this comes from and why we do what we do and how we do what we do. And, I've had some students that have really picked up on card reading, and I do that too. You know, if you ever want to reach me, you can contact me on Anna Olsen, intuitive.com, ANNAOLSEN, intuitive.com. And, I teach a lot of people how to do readings, and we build on their strengths. But I always get this whole thing with my students, and they're usually starting out and they're younger than me, and so like the older you get and the more experienced you are, the more likely you are to be able to do a nice, clear, quick reading and get a bunch of hits. So when we're looking at cards, the main thing that I want to accentuate is that you're given the right card at the right time when you do readings. And this is just through listening to spirit and listening to when to pull, or sometimes they jump out of your deck, which means you're just grabbing your cards and you're kind of flipping through them. And here I have a jumper. This one jumped out. So this would be the one that I would look at and focus on. So when I'm looking at this card, okay, so for the listeners who don't see the video, I got the number 8 and it is called Strength. I'm going to hold that up to the screen for the people who can watch. So Strength, we have a woman with a lion and she's got stars behind her. It's very usually elaborate art, which has detail. Now, the first thing that I would do is I would look at the card and just kind of meditate. So when I start to kind of meditate, that means that my consciousness is going into my higher consciousness. I'm pushing all of my own drama out. I'm not focusing on what happened this morning at breakfast. I'm thinking about what is it that I need to know about this person or you or whatever message I'm going to get from spirit right now. Could be for anybody watching, could be for me, could be for one of my family members. I'm going to stop and meditate and look at this card. And while I'm looking, I can see the stars in the back. There could be a certain number of stars that may mean something. Could be that the number 8 for strength means something. Could mean the word strength means something. Could be that the lion means something. Could be that somebody is a Leo, which means lion. Could be, there's a lot of space in the back. There's kind of like the sun going down in the background. The stars are coming up. I can see a chain around the lion's neck where there's, a collar around its neck. And, looking closer, something I've never noticed about this card specifically, or there's some letters around right above the word strength here. So I don't know if you can actually see that, but it's very small, very faint. And I'm kind of, starting to notice some things in these cards that spirit wants me to look at. So it could just be our general message about strength and being able to tame a lion for a woman. Let's say she's in a relationship with a very powerful person and she needs to either tame her emotions from that person and separate her energy from that person. Or it could be that she's needing to kind of rein in that person in the way that they're either talking to her or speaking with her or something like that. And that she can set boundaries to kind of tame that behavior so that the relationship is actually better. Could also mean that, okay, I'm looking at the stars in the background. I'm going to count 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the left side. And then I'm going to count 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the right. Actually, there's 8 on the right. So when we're looking at left and right, left could mean past, right could mean future. So now we're going into past, present, and future, left, middle, and right. There could be a number that would correlate with the person you're doing the reading on that way. So their past could be, that certain amount of stars or something that pertains to that. And it could be months, years, the age of somebody, the age that they were when something happened. It could be just about anything. It could be that's how many relationships they've had in their lifespan in the past. And now they're moving on to another one in 9 months. It could just really mean anything. And what happens is Spirit starts to direct your attention at the details on the card that you need to know. You start to kind of understand, the connection between these two means something. The number of the stars means something. I can feel it. You start to be able to really kind of see it like a picture unfolding in front of you. It starts to tell a story with pictures. So usually people who do better with cards have either a photogenic memory or they are visual learners. Now, I am a very visual learner, and when I remember things or I see things and I need to remember it, I usually see it as a picture. So for me, these cards are the best way to do readings. It's really just a way for you to get a message from Spirit through a picture. And it's not much more complex than that, other than sometimes you will see things, or get extra information about something, just because, you'll kind of hear something, or you could see something in your mind's eye separate from the cards. But basically, I'll walk you through a reading to kind of help you to understand what we do here. So I'm going to start out with asking Spirit for guidance, and I always can count on Spirit for guidance. These are my angels, my guides. I use Christ consciousness myself, and I ask, the angels, I ask those guides, I ask those loving people around me, what would you like me to pull from the cards and out through this reading today? And the first thing that I get very strong is to flip the first card over. So I flip the first card over, and what I see here is the number 1 at the top. We've got the Roman numeral 1, and then we have the cups, 1 of cups. I see the moon and all of its phases above an eye, all-seeing eye above a cup, which could be indicative of many things. Now, the cup is above a body of water, and in the water, I see some beautiful, beautiful koi fish. And the first thing that pops out to me is these look like the fish that are in the pond, these big, beautiful golden or orange or different colored, beautiful koi fish in the hospital where I was born, where my son was born, where there's on the very bottom floor a big, beautiful indoor pond. And it has koi fish, and it has this beautiful skylight over the top of it. It is an actually really beautiful hospital. And that's what I'm getting from this. Now, I'm then seeing the cup, which is gilded in gold. It has some really beautiful jewels on it, and it's above the water. So I'm seeing that now this is indicative of the area that this hospital is in. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of wealth around these neighborhoods around this hospital. And there tends to be quite a bit of, materialism. Anytime, somebody puts a lot of emphasis on materialism and wealth, most of us need to be okay having wealth, but not putting too much emphasis on that over family or connections to people, right? And I see, though, in many of these situations where there is a lot of money or wealth in certain areas, that oftentimes people get into that, they slip and they put a little too much emphasis on the money. Before you know it, all they're doing is working. They're not spending time with their family because they want the dollar, because they're chasing the buck. And I know that that's common. I mean, we're all human, right? Sometimes, you get into where you're like, oh, I want to really, keep up on this income, my goals, and all of that. And then before you know it, you don't have any connections with people. And what I'm feeling with this card is that this is indicative of the gold, the cup. It's very rich in gold and jewels, and it's above the water. It's away from where the koi fish are, away from this pond and this hospital is what it's indicative for me of. It's symbolism for, despite what is around something, financially and wealth wise, there is still the place where you go where there's a deep spiritual connection that can be under the surface. It can be somewhere where you're not really seeing it. The water and the koi fish to me are indicative of this, as above, so below, like below the water, below the surface of the water is a spiritual environment. Hospitals are where people go on to the next life. And it's also where they are born into this life from the spirit world. It's a doorway. It's a doorway from, this place that we can't remember usually, that I just get little peeks into. And I'm seeing that, financially, this is reminding me a little bit of my dad, because my dad went to this hospital too. So this is kind of coming up for me, and you guys get to hear some of a reading that for me, I guess. So the all-seeing eye is reminding me of since it's under the phases of the moon, it's reminding me that spirit sees all, there are no secrets, and that it is all evened out karmically in the end, that all will be balanced through the phases of the years, through the moon, and into the next life. So if we look at this all-seeing eye that's looking down on this gilded gold, but deeply this light from the eye is actually penetrating the water into where the koi fish are. And the all-seeing eye sees through and past the materialism into this beautiful spiritual aspect on the card. And the phases of the moon, to me, feel like this, space, the spirit world. It reminds me of the spirit world, that it's going to just completely keep going and keep moving the way it's supposed to, no matter what happens on earth. But it's all under the visual of spirit, of the gods, of God, of those wonderful deities that we're talking about, we're doing readings. So space to me up here above the moon and the phases of the moon, we're talking about, that's where spirit lives. That's where God lives. That's the place where they can see us from. And when we're looking at the earth from that aspect, everything ties in, and everything is seen and everything is accounted for. So to me, this is really interesting because, lately, let's see, this is the number one, that's the I am. It's from a numeral one, I, and it's in space. It's like, really, to me, this feels like we can trust the divine. We don't have to be afraid of, anything that we've been kind of telling ourselves, that we're going to be okay. We're being watched over. We're, always guided, and we're always loved. And really, that's, what I'm getting from it. I was going to say that, there were some things coming up for me. My father's passed since I was 15. He passed away, but I was thinking about this card in a way of, looking at, the aspect of everything that happens. You go through life and you have all these things that happen, and we all kind of have these questions about these deep things that are very hard for our mortal physical brains to understand or comprehend. And this is really just, to me, a sign that there is a higher wisdom, a higher knowledge that keeps us safe and really puts us in a place of understanding, love, and protection. And I really feel like this is like spirit telling me everything's going to be okay. I don't have to, worry that it's all being taken care of, because, I've thought about my mother and how she's is she protected? Is she okay? There's all these things. My brother, my sister, there's all these things that constantly go on, like in the back of my mind, like, I hope everybody's going to be okay. I hope we're all, it's just like, my dad took care of us. And so that's what comes up for me. So, I'm kind of, blown away that it came up for me right now. That's really sweet of spirit. I love my guides, and I really, I always thank them, and I always show my gratitude for, any message that they pull through, and whenever they are being comforting and loving, it's a really good experience for me. And this is what I like to share with you. This is what I like to do for you. This is what I like to do in my readings when I have somebody sitting in front of me. We do a lot of healing. We get a lot of message from spirit. And then I just see things take off for people. And it's so exciting for me because I just love to see that effect of me being kind of like the oracle in between the heavens and earth for the people here, where I get to pass along these messages for them. And it's really exciting for me to watch them like grow and just benefit so much from that love that comes from the divine, from the guides, from the spirit. And when I see those messages pass to that person and then be affected positively, it gives me hope. And not just for what's to come on the other side later at the end of our lifespans, but also for humankind, and that we aren't alone here. We have a lot of guidance. We have a lot of love. We're here to help each other. I'm here to help you. You're here to help me. We're here to support each other. We are a earthly family, I guess you could say. And it's just really, really fun for me to be reminded of that. It's very comforting. It feels incredible. Like even just feeling it in my heart now, my heart chakra is just like elated. I've had this feeling of elation and joy. And I'm also hearing from spirit right now that we have to be careful about always expecting a high level of joy through this life. It's not meant to be super happy, super joyful at like this high elated phase 100% of the time. And as a matter of fact, our brains are not even built for that. That we know people who go and seek a bunch of thrills in this lifetime, they burn out their brain. They burn out like the dopamine, and they burn out the feel good hormones and all of that. There needs to be a nice even low before we go back to a high to contrast it and to compare it. That's the difference. It helps us to understand, oh, we were kind of like recovering from our happy joyful time, and now we get to go back down to either neutral, or even sometimes we have to get down there and get a little bit low before we're going to appreciate going high again and really getting that elated feeling. So I'm hearing from spirit, like the more that people understand that if they're chasing a high all the time, whatever that be, like some people will do, they'll drink, or they'll drink too much, or they'll go and like play with substances or whatever, or sometimes they will thrill seek, whatever that may be. It could be anything for anyone, whether it's driving fast in your car or racing in your car, to, all the way from that to like down to, having too many relationships, like romantic relationships, to always get like this induced fake high or something like that. There are so many ways that people do this, even overeating. There's so many great foods around Christmas time, and I don't know about you, but I had to be careful there, and I'm having to get back to that gym and really get my cardio in and do some weight training because, whoa, ooh, overdid it on the food. So some people do that all year round, and really that's indicative of like thrill seeking. So we need to be able to go back to neutral, meditate, get down to that nitty gritty where we're back to neutral again. We're not needing to be attached to a high. We're not needing to be attached to being on a low, being a victim, or any of that victim mentality. Nope. I don't know about you, but that annoys the heck out of me. Too much of the victim mentality. Getting back to a neutral spot where you're not attached to what's happening negatively. You're not attached to what's happening positively, even. You're just in your vibe, and you're alive and you're existing and you're at peace. The peace is, I think, the main part where, we just really need to be in that place. Now, the next one I pulled, now this is like the third time I pulled this one today. It's actually the Three of Pentacles, and I pulled it 3 times. There you go. The Three of Pentacles. Let's read this one. So I see a man here, and he has tools in his belt. He has a bunch of tools behind him too. He's working on something. Looks like he's a blacksmith, but I would even go so far as to say like construction, or somebody who is working on their house, or they're working, doing projects or whatnot around their house. He's holding up pentacles. There's 3 there, and then he's holding 1 up, which is indicative of money. So I'm seeing an abundance of money. This would be a male, an abundance of money, an abundance of energy to do work. It could be carpentry, could be improving the home. It could be working on the house and improving the something like that, like building something to add onto a house. To improve a house. And it could even be indicative of like, that's that person's way of working through emotions. That's that man's way of working through, what am I going to use my money on to invest, to make more money in the interim, to make more money in the long run. And I'm seeing an investment in real estate. I'm seeing an investment in the future. I'm seeing investment in growing your money now, investing it in the right ways, having tools in your belt to understand investments. I'm getting this pretty strongly. And I'm also seeing there's a fire in the back where this man would possibly heat the metal to make new things, including the pentacle that he's holding up. And this fire in the background, to me, this feels like this person needing to really get inventive about, how am I going to create a new tool to make more money, meaning job set, job training, promotion, getting up there into a higher position in their career, or a new career even, or a side gig. So to me, this feels like I want to get more specific because I don't want to be too generalized. That doesn't convince anybody that it's them. So I want to get really exacting on this. This is a man who is probably a blue collar worker and who is working hard to make money to improve the current situation of his house. He's building on or improving the house. Could be laying brick, putting a new driveway in, building a deck, putting in walls, tearing down walls, putting new fixtures up in the house. If any of that, resonates, that's going to be part of this whole picture. Spirit is wanting me to point these things out, and I keep asking Spirit more questions. What exactly detail do you want me to say? And the next thing that I'm getting is that this person used to be associated with baking, like some kind of like dough, I guess you could say, pizza or bakery, something like that. I'm just seeing dough. So that would have to pertain as like they used to be, working with their hands that way. And that's what really got them into like this loving being, working with their hands and like really making, money, doing something that would cause a higher yield financially. It kind of turned into, maybe building something, adding onto the house, investing time and energy into that, and then that potentially becoming a hobby or a retirement income. And as he's building, I see that he has facial hair. Could be just a mustache, could be beard and mustache. This is going to be very lucrative for this person. So I'm getting that this is this person's investment, and that there's going to be a dip. And I want to really focus on the fact that it will go back up, and it will go back up pretty quickly within 5 years. That's what I want to tell this person specifically. I'm getting the letter R. So it could be the name, could be location, could be city. but I'm getting an R and I'm getting an A and I'm getting a TE. So that's rates, could be investment rates. And then I'm getting a name, John. So John specifically, I'm getting JOHN, then JON, John. So whatever that means, I want to hear from you. If you resonate with this, if this makes sense to you, I'm going to want to hear about it. I just have a couple of minutes left. So I want to get into this last card. It's the 8 of Cups. And this is what I really want to focus on. The 8 of Cups is looking like there's no money left in these cups. There's no more resource left in the cups. And the message I'm getting from Spirit is that it's going to look empty for a while, but they're going to be refilled. Don't worry, you will be okay. That's the main thing. You're going to get your money back. I have to end now and I'm just getting going, but please contact me if you'd like a reading. I would love to work with you. My info is Anna Olsen, intuitive.com. And you can see that at the bottom of the screen. You can also reach me here on Facebook. It would be Anna Olsen Intuitive, and also Tiny Medium Queendom on Instagram. That's Tiny Medium Queendom. So I just had such a good time teaching you. Please let me know if I can do anything with you, give you a reading, teach you how to do readings. Let me know. Have a great day, and I'll see you next week.